movie, you're like, "Dear Power Rangers." Dear Power Rangers, what the heck happened after the train crash? All right, I'm game. Let's try it. If we crash or burn, I'll go upstairs and watch a movie or something. We'll make it a good night anyway. All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. Hopefully, we're having a lot of technical issues tonight, but we're hoping that they will slow down and that we'll be all right. I'm Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my fantabulous chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I feel like we've been sucked into the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, the last 20 minutes or so was a struggle, but
Yeah.
I think we're gonna make it. We're gonna recover quite nicely.
This is liable to be, oh, I say liable, this is going to have to be a short one tonight. I need to finish as close to 9 as possible. So we'll push an hour and a half, but I won't be able to go the full 2 hours this evening. Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. If you're watching live, we appreciate you watching after the fact if you're doing that as well. Let us know in the comments if you can see and hear us and if the audio is smooth enough to keep going. I'm having all kinds of errors. YouTube didn't even want to let me broadcast. Maybe it's because of the topic tonight. That was DJ's suggestion.
They're shutting us down. Fighting the power. That's what we're doing here at Geekvolution.
So I don't know if we're just running really behind, like everybody's getting our broadcast like 8 years after we start, but people in the comments are saying that they can't even see anything that we're saying right now, that they're just getting music so far. Yeah, so this is weird. I don't even know what's going on.
Are we in hyper time? Are we watching what's that terrible movie that we did a commentary on?
Oh, Clock Stoppers.
Clock Stopper. I think we're in hyper time. I think that's what's happening.
I blame you, Pikachu, because you wanted to watch that.
No, you were excited because you liked one of the writers, sir.
Oh, no, because I like the director, because it was Jonathan Frakes.
The director, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah. Natalia's saying he can hear more music. Blue Dragon 5 saying we can hear Cat but can't see him. Ah, that's weird. What is happening?
How can we not see Cap? We're on the same screen.
Yeah.
We're both in the same screen.
They should be able to. Yeah, can you hear DJ as well? Or well, what I'm thinking is they're getting us like a minute and a half later, so they're hearing me at the beginning and not even you yet.
Oh.
And now he says they have picture. This whole show is just gonna be.
There's just a huge lag. They're just like really far behind tonight.
That's what I'm saying. It's a massive lag.
Weird.
Oh boy, it's never been exactly like this before.
Yeah, we're always stepping up our game and giving you something you've never seen before here on the Captain Logan show.
And it says I'm frozen. Yeah, DJ, this is rough. I don't even see how we can run a show like this because it's a Q&A show, folks.
Yeah, put in your super chats extra early tonight, folks, so we can read them before the 3-minute lag.
Yeah, like last Thursday. Okay, I really, let's see. Blue Dragon 5, Cap's frozen, the live button keeps going on and off. Okay. Hot Soup says it's all good on his end. Senior Sticks, I'll listen to the replay later. I'm not sure how to handle this. I'm trying to decide if we should shut it down and try to start over.
Yeah, so it sounds like we sound fine. It's just distracting because our visuals are.
Yes, but how long
freezing.
ago is the question?
Yeah, video's choppy. Yeah, that's what we were worried about. That's what was happening before we started going live.
Yeah. Tom, we don't have a storm here. Is it the storm? People have different weather in different parts of the country. I don't know if you're aware of that, Tom.
Is there a nationwide storm we don't know about, Cap?
I think it's an alien invasion, in fact.
Well, even in Hawkeye, an alien invasion was happening right outdoors, and young Hawkeye didn't even notice. So,
I'm not sure what to do. Blue Dragon 5 says the lag is insane. I've never seen this exactly happen before. I'm gonna assume that it's a YouTube issue.
Yep. We predicted it with our thumbnail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The answer to the thumbnail is this is the last straw. The 3-minute live lag is the last straw. And the answer to will YouTube survive is no, and not past today, apparently.
They're going down with the ship tonight. This is it.
Okay, people are saying it's starting to improve. Do you want to make the attempt and actually try to have a show here?
Sure, let's do it. I'll read questions. You want me to read that first one?
No, that's okay. I still have a lead-in topic. I can waste time with that.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. My apologies for the long preamble. It's not even showing me how long we've been broadcasting.
Oh, man. Everything's going
Oh, wait, no. It is. I just had to scroll up. I'm losing my mind now. Because this whole thing is so messed up. Lewis Cox, so it might be YouTube or a storm, maybe. Grimdeath says it's fine. Okay, so welcome, everybody. So 7 minutes in, we're finally going to sort of have a show. As always, guys, we're going to have a lead-in topic and then throw us questions about anything you'd like to hear us talk about. I'm going to talk a little bit about the future of YouTube, although I'm going to give you something of a more condensed version of that probably than I was going to, because I want to make sure that I don't spend 45 minutes on that and then barely get to talk with you guys about anything. So put in super chats if you're so inclined. We guarantee that we'll answer whatever questions or suggestions, ideas that you have with those. If you want to leave a regular comment instead, just make sure to tag DJ Martinez at DJ Martinez. It's that guy right there, and he will make sure and give me your question. DJ, as you know, because that's always the best way to give forced exposition in dialogue.
You know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. For the benefit of whoever might be reading or watching this.
Not, hey, do you remember, or are you, or were you aware of this? No, as you know, I'm going to tell you anyway. I was really concerned and kind of wigging out about a week and a half ago. Because, or has it been a full 2 weeks at this point? I think it's been like 11, 12 days. It was the weekend before last. And it looked like YouTube was putting in an insane new policy that I wasn't going to be able to stand for and stay on the channel. And I've been really concerned about it. The information that I had, and I've done more research into this, DJ, this has been a really difficult thing to figure out anything about. And I finally learned maybe some more stuff about this, so I want to talk about it a little bit. And by the way, when I pitched you this lead-in topic for tonight, I didn't even have any more information. I just wanted to speculate a little bit about the future of the platform, and talk about like whether YouTube could weather this whole thing if that policy goes through, and whether they're kind of what I feel like are draconian practices in censorship are going to drive too many people off the platform. Really, the question was, is YouTube too big to fail? And I still want to talk about that a little bit, but now that I know a little bit more, I've got to talk more about the chargeback policy. So the quick version of what happened a few days ago, a week and a half ago, is that I found out from an RGT85 video that YouTube had enacted or was enacting a policy where they could not only flag your videos for violence and language, anything that they deemed improper and bad for advertisers, and retroactively videos that you put up a long time ago, as well as things you're putting up right now, that they were cracking down a lot more on that stuff and making it very difficult to tell what was okay and what wasn't. But they can also take money away from you that you've earned already. This is for anybody that hasn't heard about this already. So retroactively, even if it was years and years ago, they can go, your video no longer goes with the policies we've put in after you posted it. And so all the money that you earned is null and void, and you have to give it back to us. And they could do that through either a chargeback thing or with your credit card, or they could just withhold earnings from future paychecks. DJ, when I complained about this and said I may be done on the platform, I can't sign a thing that says that I have to be okay with that. And at the time, I thought that they'd already enacted it. I thought it was happening right then and there. I was ready to jump ship right there, and I said to everybody in that live show, please tell me what I'm missing. Please let me know if I'm overreacting, because I really hope I am. I hope I'm just chasing shadows here, and that this somehow isn't true, that we're reading the language wrong, something. DJ, it might be true that I was chasing shadows. It turns out that this may not be the policy we think it is, or that they technically are saying they can do this, but they never will. And let me explain that real quick. So I went back and looked at the video, because I didn't realize there was a video. I thought it was just a tweet. So the initial information came from a very popular YouTuber named Louis Rossman, and he does very intelligent videos while petting his cat. And Rossman had put out this tweet, and I guess he linked to the video, but I didn't know about it. And that's where RGT got his information. And I finally watched that video today. And there, he is looking at the YouTube policy. So he's looking at like everything that's in the terms of service, everything in the TOS. And he's going, hey, it's important to read these. Most people don't. I'm going to see what's actually in it. And let me clear up real quick the whole date thing. So I had been told by some other folks that looked into this, hey, they're not enacting it until July. Don't worry until then. See if it blows over. We've had this conversation already on the show, right? Well, it's sort of true and it sort of isn't. The July thing is how long everybody has to sign the new terms of service if you want to keep your channel monetized. If you don't sign it by July, you lose out on the partner program, and you have to reapply. And a lot of that, and yes, they have made changes they didn't tell anybody about, as far as, again, like what you can get flagged for as far as content goes. But the bigger part of that whole thing, the reason they're doing that with everybody is because of YouTube Shorts, because they're putting in they're putting in a way now to monetize YouTube Shorts, a system for that whole thing. And so we all have to sign or decline whether or not we want to use Shorts and be monetized for that whole thing. And that's why you have to sign up by July. Now, if you don't like that you can't swear in the first 7 seconds of your video, and that you can't do gameplay footage that's violent, too much in your video, whatever that means, because it's really vague, then you have to just live with not being partnered, of course. And, of course, if I had to, and with my channel I won't, if I had to live with being 100% demonetized, that's not as big of a deal to me, because we're mostly fan-funded ourselves anyway, and I can live in that world if I have to. The majority of our revenue does not stem from that, but it used to. So the problem is, if I get charged back for a bunch of videos that I made money on years and years ago, because I've been doing this 14 years, it could bankrupt the channel. I mean, it wouldn't bankrupt me personally, because I'm not the main breadwinner of my family. Like, I would survive it, but I'd have to quit the channel. Like I would just, or I would have to live with all of my donation money going to pay that back, and I'm not doing that. Sorry, that's not gonna happen. So anyway, so the whole July thing, this isn't happening until then, is regarding, because I finally looked into this more, not having to sign the thing that keeps you monetized or not entirely until July. There was another video, I only found like 3 whole videos about this subject at all. And the other one, so you had the video from RGT where he's basically regurgitating what Rossman is saying, and then there's another one from Asmongold, and Asmongold did another really, really popular YouTuber, and he did a reaction video to what Rossman was talking about and said, wait a minute, I'm not actually positive that this policy hasn't always been there. And I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he says, well, keep in mind, none of us read the terms of service, and all of it, and we don't, your eyes would glaze over. You might not notice some of that language. And he says, look, it seems like a fraud policy to me. And I was really skeptical of this at first, because one of that guy's main things he talks about is fraud. So it's like he's seeing it everywhere, was the first thing I thought. Was like, no, but you're missing that they can do this for anything. It says terms of service. And by the way, that part of it still bothers me, the wording of it. That if you break terms of service, they can take the money back that they've paid you for any video that breaks it now. However, he thinks that policy has been there for 10 years. And that the only reason it's there is for fraud, to basically YouTube kind of trying to cover its ass. If basically the fraud he's talking about, and I'm not going to play any of these videos because we don't have time, and I don't even know with the technical issues tonight if it would work. It looks like we're caught up and we're okay now. But the fraud thing he's talking about is channels, and he's right about that. We can argue about whether this should go through courts or the YouTube system or whatever, but he's right that this is not okay. He thinks that the policy is about people using bots to watch their videos and then see ads and then get money from those ads. And the idea is, if you're caught doing that, you'd have to be charged back, because that's not real revenue you should have earned. Okay, like, that makes sense. If that's all they've ever done is charge back for that kind of thing, then of course that makes sense. That's credit card fraud. But, and there's not yet been one instance of a person, as far as I know, a person getting charged back by YouTube. And DJ, my apologies, I'm talking a lot.
No worries.
There hasn't been, as far as I know, one instance of YouTube charging somebody back because you broke, content or copyright rules of YouTube or something like that. And it isn't that this policy would not happen until July. It's that I don't have to sign whatever their terms of service currently are until then. And also, so I would think if that was happening, it would be happening now. It would be weird if they waited until July and then suddenly started doing that part of it. I kind of want to look closer at the current terms of service and try to find older versions of it and see if it's still in there, how far back that goes. And I haven't had a chance to do that yet. But the long and short of it is, it actually sounds like maybe they're not doing what I was afraid that they would be doing, and that there's no intention to, and that's simply a wording that they put in place in case somebody takes them to court over a thing that they shouldn't even have. In my mind, they shouldn't even have to have a rule about anyway, because that's just fraud. like that's a legal issue. I don't understand why you need that in your terms of service exactly. Armsman Gold talked about that too, and said that that's kind of a standard thing that these companies do, and I don't get why they need to do that. But I might have been chasing shadows. This might be nothing.
Well, that's good news.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not happy with all the censorship and stuff, but that by itself wouldn't drive me off the platform yet anyway, until it gets way, way worse. Until it gets to where, regardless of monetization, people can't see my videos over things that I'm saying within my rights with free speech. I do worry about that. The whole toggling thing is 18 plus really bothers me. Like, if too much of that happened, because I had like some bloody panels from Spawn Year or something like that, I may reconsider staying on this particular platform, but I don't think it's as dire as I was thinking before, and it looks like I'm probably not going to have to worry about leaving anytime soon, assuming that he's right about that. And my gut tells me that is more probably what it actually is.
Sweet. We'll see. Happy ending. Hopefully,
so we'll see. Man. Having said that, with all the censorship that continues to happen, there is that question of how long the platform will exist in the form it's in currently. How much is it driving? Is it going to be driving? Content creators off the platform and going other places. Like right now, there's not, of course, very much competition, and the couple of other competitors that they are have not gained anything like the traction that YouTube has yet, so they're not as viable for most people, especially with ad revenue. But I feel like, I agree with both of those guys, Rossman and Armsman Gold. They both were in agreement that YouTubers in general need to get away from ad revenue and go more fan-supported. I do much better that way anyway, just all cards on the table, and frankly, it's a lot like I don't know. I feel better about the whole thing doing it that way, because I don't have to worry about videos getting demonetized, and I also just feel more like I'm working for and with the audience. You know what I mean? Like I feel better when I'm doing well, because it's like, oh, people appreciate what I'm doing, and so they're helping me out, and it's more rewarding in that way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's, I think, the way to go. I think the partner program is good for smaller people like me who we just don't have the ability to, or I have the ability to set up a Patreon, but I wouldn't have anyone that would do that yet. I feel like you have to be at a certain level. I don't know what that level is, 10,000 subscribers, 20,000 subscribers, before you have enough numbers that the percentage of people that will support you, So I think the partner program is good for small beans guys.
I see that perspective. Well, and I mean, in the grand scheme, I'm still a small beans guy, but I see that perspective, and this is going to come off like I'm saying, DJ, you're going to need to get to 10,000 subscribers before you can make any kind of money at all.
I'm sure.
And I don't want to say that, because I actually think that if you had a built-in loyal base that liked what you did enough, you could probably start a Patreon and at least supplement what you're doing, maybe pay for some of your Blu-rays and stuff with the the collecting channel that you have. Some of your the Criterions, if you had an audience of 3, 4, 5,000. Like, I don't think I would wait until I was at 10,000 to start a Patreon. If I were you, but that's of course entirely up to you. But I think you'd probably need to get to the level you're talking about before ad revenue would make that much of a difference.
Yeah. And I don't really care about making money on it. It's kind of just a hobby for me. I just don't feel comfortable making a Patreon until I don't know if I'll ever feel comfortable making a Patreon, because I feel like if I was going to do that, it would have to be my full-time job, or I could devote enough time to it. Whereas if it's just this hobby thing now, and I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get content out for the patrons, and I feel like that would be promising things I couldn't do.
Yeah. Well, and it really just would depend on what kinds of perks you wanted to offer as well. Now this is just turning into YouTube advice with Cap to DJ, but and of course, we can talk about this more at another time, but there's a lot of different strategies for that, and there's folks with really successful Patreons that don't make extra content for it. And that offer like early content, different media for their content. I'm considering adding a Patreon perk where I offer. I'm not announcing this yet. I don't know for sure if I'm doing this, but I'm now it's just me and you talking, and I forgot there was an audience. I'm considering adding a Patreon perk to give people podcast versions of everything we do, because that's a thing that a few people have asked for, but it would be somewhat time consuming to turn all of our shows as we make them into audio formats, or put them in audio formats and then put them in podcasts. But if people sign up for Patreon, it would be at the lowest level. It would make it a little bit more worth my while to do that. So I would consider doing that. So that would be not different content, but in a different form. So there's a lot of different strategies.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I'm just now starting to even think about it. I am 35 subscribers away from the big 1,000, the big monetization number, and then so I can get my few cents back a week whenever that gets rolling.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that, man. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh yeah, thanks, appreciate it. It's been weird. It's been fun.
Yeah, you're growing at a great rate. That's wonderful. I remember what growing was like. That was a long time ago.
Well, you're killing me, man.
I'm an old,
it's
washed
so
out
oversaturated,
YouTuber now.
man.
Oh, no. Well, that's some of it, and some of it is the kind of content that I produce now versus what I used to, and that my audience has grown up with me, so the age that was subscribing to me when we started, the people that are currently of that age do not care about what I'm talking about or the way I talk about it. It seems like, with our demographics and stuff, the algorithm is to, I can blame a lot of people, but, I'm probably at least 60% of the problem. Anyway, but real quick before we start getting into questions, because I promised we wouldn't be 45 minutes in, and we're already like half an hour in, so I'll spend no more than 5 more minutes on this. But DJ, where do you see the platform in a few years? Like, is YouTube too big to fail? Like, I don't think it just totally crumbles over the censorship thing, but I worry that it ends up just being a lot more corporate driven, and a lot of just people in their basement making interesting content will at some point maybe flock someplace else, and that will kill the platform for what it is now. It'll just kind of become TV again. That's my concern.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I think all of it depends on if they can get their shorts together, no pun intended, and figure out what, like, if they can do that, because TikTok is killing them at that, and Reels are doing it on Instagram too, but they're not anywhere as sophisticated as TikTok's yet. I posted a TikTok last night, and in like 30 minutes, it had 900 views. Like the algorithm on TikTok is insane versus YouTube. Like, and if they can figure out the short form, I think most of the people, like I've been following TikTok creators that do like the same thing as me, like movie collectors, and a lot of them had like 300 400 subscribers on YouTube and jumped ship and went to TikTok, and now they have 10,000+ followers. Like, I don't know, I think if they keep running like normal people off YouTube with the like TV content like you're talking about, I think normal people are going to go to the other platforms that are basically what YouTube was when YouTube was getting started.
Yeah, that's a terrific point. And then the question is this a vicious cycle? Do all of those platforms have to turn into what YouTube is eventually, especially if they let any corporations make content, or they major corporations, or they're run it all by ad revenue? I think if you can monetize content in some other way besides ads somehow, and you don't have the companies screaming at you because they don't like that they're putting their car commercial on a guy taking his kid's game system and punishing him by breaking it in a million pieces, because that was a trend for a while.
So stupid.
Yeah, no, it's really stupid. And I mean, yeah, I see both sides to it to some degree, because I don't like that kind of stuff either. But and violence and really vulgar, horribly offensive stuff. I'm not saying those things shouldn't be allowed to exist. I don't understand them. I don't like that they do. But I'm saying that if I'm an advertiser, yeah, I wouldn't want my ads on that content necessarily either. But that's where the draconian kinds of practices come from, because they mess with Google's bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's hard to imagine a company as big as Google failing at this point. They own everything, so I think they're going to be around for a long time. I just don't know what the platform's going to look like.
Yeah, well, and I guess I have two kind of contradictory worries. There's the side again that worries that YouTube itself becomes a corporate wasteland, and then everybody else splinters off in a lot of other places where it's difficult for most of us to survive, at least in a monetary way. People that do this for a living. And then there's the other part of me that worries that no matter what YouTube does, because people make their living at this, they will put up with it.
Yeah.
And I don't like that either.
Yeah, but I totally understand that perspective. It's like, well, I can make this much money, or I can make nothing, because it's kind of the only thing in town. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, but then the tragedy of it is you put up with everything, you try your hardest to follow the rules, even if you think they're stupid, even if you don't agree with them, and then at the end of the day, everything gets demonetized anyway that you put your heart and soul into for years and years. And then I guess, again, the answer to that is, well, don't rely on ad revenue. Rossman kept saying, have different, work on coming up with different revenue streams. That's super important if you're going to do this for a living. This is not as big of a deal for people that just do it as a hobby, that aren't worried about making money with the platform. YouTube isn't shutting very many, if any, videos down over content that isn't just, insanely egregious to the point that most of us would agree that shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? But you know the kinds of things I'm talking about. No, you shouldn't be able to upload a video of you murdering a person, or killing a dog with your bare hands or something.
Good grief.
But something like that. Look, I'm a writer. I can have a dark imagination. Don't put it on camera. Don't actually do it. But anyway, where was I going with all that? I stopped myself in my tracks because I said something really dark. But for the most part, you're still allowed to post pretty much anything you want to. You just may not be able to make money on it, and they might make it really difficult for anyone to find it.
Mhm.
So anyway, we're taking questions now. You can ask us about
All right.
anything you want to. Like I said, I need to be done around 9. I'm going to push it to more like 9:15, 9:20 at this point because we lost the first like 10 minutes of the show. And I really thought we were going to have to shut down. I'm so excited that we're actually rolling here and that we have an audience. And thank you guys, by the way, so very much for lots of stuff, making this viable for me to do on the regular, putting up with the crazy YouTube stuff and my publicly talking about that and being concerned about it. You guys have been super supportive, and being open and honest about it made it so much easier for me to deal with what I was feeling with that day and that weekend. So I really appreciate you guys for that. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. You guys are just wonderful. DJ, let's get some questions.
All right, real quick before we get too far away from this, I'm going to answer a recent super chat that just popped up because Lewis Cox said, "Will Google sell YouTube?" $2.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't feel like I have enough information to know how that would benefit them. Because I don't know what kind of profit they make at this point with YouTube. I know that that several years ago there was a lot of talk that YouTube wasn't really actually turning a profit for them, which is interesting.
Yeah, it would have to be like burning money for them before they were going to do that. Like it would have to be a huge hindrance. Like they're just losing money, like WB. Yeah, and then they'll sell to Zaslav will come in and save it. That's what I want. I want Zaslav to come in and save YouTube.
Well, if Disney does it, I quit. That's what I really am done.
All right, let's go back to the beginning here. The first super chat I have is from T-Edge1, and he says,
man, what's up?
$5. I accidentally bought a book in Russian for my lady friend. Have you ever done something like that before? That's very specific. If so, explain. You rock. I love you guys. So very vague.
Thanks, man. Yes, that was a very odd question, but
open-ended. Have you ever done something stupid, I guess, or like bought something stupid online, I guess is what he's saying.
Or specifically bought something in another language. I have a story about this. So
perfect.
My mother has. Just a few months ago, my mom comes over with a big box of books that she was getting rid of. And some of them, my mom's a teacher. She's a junior high teacher, reading teacher. And a reading specialist, she brought over a box of some books that she was getting rid of that she thought we might want for the family, and some things that my stepdad's father, who passed away almost 10 years ago now, that they still had, that they were giving me. I got the rest of his science fiction collection. I think I've talked about that. And a lot of those books actually are right behind me. And anyway, he and I were close, and it's a big deal to have his collection. It was rocking, by the way. And anyway, she also bought my wife a book with all of that. I don't know why I told you all that. She bought my wife a book with all of that, knowing that my wife is a big fan of Watership Down, and she got her a really nice hardcover of that book that was in some other language, and I can't, and she didn't know it. And when she gave it to me, she didn't know. I cracked it open, and I was like, my wife speaks a couple different languages. She doesn't read this, and I cannot remember what it was, because it was something really off the beaten path. I wish I could remember it. Was it like, it wasn't something as crazy as like Hebrew or something, but it was like that, where it was like, why did you even get a book in this language? It wasn't even like one of the 12 languages you'd think of that like enough people in the world speak. You would end up with that book. It was something really random.
Yeah. And your wife's not like a collector like us. Like I would like that. Like if I had a book that like is one of my favorite books and I already owned, to get like a really nice edition of it, even if it was in a different language, I'd put that on the shelf. But I don't think I've ever done that with a book. I've done that with movies. I have recently just bought the Remember the Night Indicator big box set that they put out, and it is Region B, and I can't play it. So I'm seriously considering. It's already in my Amazon cart right now. I'm seriously considering getting a Region free player. I think I'm finally going to do it.
I need to do that because I have a few things in other regions that some of them I bought on purpose that I can play with software that I downloaded from my computer, but I can't put in any of my drives. Like I bought a couple of movies when I was in Germany that I still haven't watched because I wanted to see what the German tracks sounded like. I bought X2 that way. I bought Back to the Future that way because my wife grew up in Germany. She lived there for several years when she was a kid. She was her dad was in the Air Force. And she said Back to the Future has some of the funniest voiceovers in German of anything, and I still need to watch that, but I did buy that. Anyway, what else do you see there, DJ?
Next up is from What is a Super Chat? And he gives us $2 to answer.
Every time you do that, I'm gearing up to answer a question, and then I'm like, that's the man's name.
Well, gear up for this one, sir, because he gives you $2 to answer, what is the purpose of a spoon?
To be the battle cry for the tick.
That's right. That's its only purpose. That's why it was invented.
Spoons have many uses.
Yeah.
There's the obvious one, but then there's, especially silver ones, to be in the mouth of rich babies. That's.
I thought you were gonna go into the instrument territory.
Oh, right, yeah. You can play the spoons.
You can play the spoons.
Mm-hmm. They're not for spooning. That's a totally other thing.
No spoons involved in that activity, unless it's your thing. I won't kink shame. But,
sure, but you could really involve anything. Let's move on.
Vitale, 14 Czar. If you and DJ could swap bodies for one day, would you?
The short answer is no.
No. I don't know that I would do that with anybody.
With anybody, yeah.
That's weird.
At the risk of going TMI for a second, I will say I actually would. I don't know who I would switch bodies with exactly, but I know this wasn't the question. Here in a second, I would tell you why I would like to have that experience one time. And then I know I would regret it, and so then I'd be like, "No, I wish I hadn't done that." But with DJ and I switching bodies, I think that is too intimate for friendship. I really do. Like if
that would be awkward.
It would be too. I don't know how I could. Maybe you'd get over it. Maybe
I could never look at you in the face again.
Maybe in weird ways it would make you closer. I think more likely it would just you'd be kind of embarrassed and you'd be like, I've literally spent a day in this man's shoes or even his feet. That's actually a tick reference, believe it or not. And I spent a day in his feet, and you'd have to. And like I know too much about him now, like without getting into the kind of grossness of just being in someone else's body, you'd have to basically
a YouTube video though.
Yeah, it would. You'd have to, but then everybody would just think you were acting. You wouldn't even be able to prove it.
That's true. That's true. Well, I could be like, you wouldn't believe where Cap has a mole.
One of the only experiences in life that is impossible for people to have is to know exactly what it's like to be born the opposite gender. And like swapping bodies, if that were possible, would be the only way to have that experience and know what that's like. And just for the curiosity of it, I think I would like to switch bodies with a woman one day. I would hope that neither of us would remember it, or that, well, I guess you'd have to, but like that, she wouldn't remember it. Because again, it's weird for all the reasons that I was saying it was weird with you, but it's a human experience you can't have.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about people transitioning and that sort of thing. I'm not making this an argument about that whole thing. I'm just saying that that you're born with what you have, and even if you choose to to change that, it can't be exactly the same.
Yeah, and you're not talking like.
And I also don't want to do that full, long term, because I personally am fine being, being the gender I was born with.
No, that would be quite a commitment just for the curiosity of it.
It would, and then switch back, yeah. There's actually an Orville episode that's about that. That's really interesting, where they kind of touch the trans issue for a second in a really thoughtful but also nonchalant way, because they go, oh well, in the future it's just it's a really easy surgery, and it's super simple and it takes like 5 minutes, and so if you walk into a doctor's office and say you want that done, there's no questions asked and they just do it. And if the next day you wanted to switch back, that's really easy too. And I think that's very amusing. And so and so that helps it become a non-issue. Anyway, moving right along.
All right. Yeah, sorry. I was trying to catch up in the chat here.
No,
we have.
I give you too much to do, and then and then I expect you to respond to things I say. Like you don't have enough to do already, and then I worry that I'm not letting you in enough on the conversation, and then I'm like, well, now I'm specifically opening up to make sure that you get time, and then you don't care.
Of course I care. What is the purpose of a spoon? We covered that.
We did.
John Ty.
For a second, I thought that was his new YouTube name.
You should update it.
What is the purpose of a spoon? Asks
John Ty. $5. What's
Hi,
more
John.
believable? Bruce giving up being Batman because of Jason Todd's death, or Rachel's death?
Ooh, I like that question a great deal. Okay, so I always overthink these things, but the problem, there is an inherent flaw in the question, I will say. I like the question. There is an inherent flaw in that you are talking about two different characters. Because I don't mean Jason and Rachel. Obviously, those are different characters. I mean, you're talking about two different Bruce Waynes with very different, to some degree, different sorts of motivations. You've got the classic comic book Batman who thinks of himself as Batman first, and then you have the Nolan Bruce Wayne who is Bruce Wayne first and wants to see a clear end to Batman. Traditional Batman is the opposite of that. He doesn't think it's possible. Like he says it's the journey before it's the destination, right? He says it's about making it so that no child ever has to go through what he did again, but he also knows deep down that that's impossible. And that's not the goal of the Nolan Bruce Wayne. That version wants to simply make Gotham not corrupt so that if that sort of thing happens on the street, it's at least not because of things that he and wealthy people like him, people with influence, could have prevented. And so it's different. So in trying to compare them, you've got two different characters with two very different situations. So the short answer is, if I have to say which of them in those different situations is more believable, it's Batman with Jason Todd, because even though they're different characters, because you've got a Batman that's got to be questioning whether what he's doing was ever worthwhile, because he let a child die and he let him to it, which is like the most opposite of anything Batman would ever want, right? And because he trained a kid that took it too far in certain versions of it, and so he's setting a bad example and making things worse, which is not the job. And then with Bruce Wayne, it's just well, if I can't be with my girlfriend, then I guess I don't care about being Batman anymore. And I never liked that choice really anyway. So I mean, that's not entirely the reason in Rises that he quits. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but yeah. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, I'm just gonna say the Jason Todd thing is better writing, but yeah, for each of those stories, that is the more believable thing. But we're not talking about the same character making choices.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up, I've got one from John Ty again. Why are team books like the Avengers and Justice League hard to get into?
I mean, that's one of those questions where you have to decide if you even agree with the premise in the first place, because I think that's somewhat subjective and it's different for different people. Some people appreciate team books more because they just like dynamics of several protagonists trying to figure out how to live and work together. I was always more of a single protagonist guy myself, but I think that there is truth to that. And I like, when you're talking about like getting into, let's say, Claremont's X-Men 50 issues in versus any run of Batman 50 issues in, it's going to be easier to get into Batman over X-Men because X-Men is much more of a soap opera. And Batman starts over more often. With X-Men, you've got all these character lineages and histories, and all of these relationships, and a lot more callbacks to various things happening. It's easier to catch up in a Batman story. I think almost overall, almost just in general. But that's just kind of the nature of those kinds of books. They tend to be more soap operas. So I think it's almost a genre question, right? It's harder to get into teen books if it is harder because they tend to be soap operas. When a singular protagonist piece tends to be more of a character study.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I think it kind of depends on what you're into. But I personally agree with that. For me, in my interests. Mutale gives us 14 South African Rand. A billionaire could buy YouTube, like with Twitter.
But was Twitter... I mean, that's a different situation because I don't think Twitter had a parent company. I have to be honest with you, I have not spent any time looking into this stuff, so what I know is just what little I have, seen in internet news and stuff. But I thought Twitter was an independent company that then got bought out by a company.
Yeah, I guess I don't even know either. I don't know if he bought Twitter from somebody or if he just bought the whole company.
Yeah. Because if I'm right about that, it's then the same thing as YouTube. It just happened later. Like YouTube was also an independent corporation that was bought out by Google.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
so it's easy to say it was bought out by a billionaire, but like it's a billionaire with a company.
Yeah, he doesn't like most of his money is in the company. It's not like he's just not like he inherited just all of his billions.
Yeah. You couldn't just walk into Google and go, I have enough money to buy YouTube. It would have to first
Not yet, but sign up at the Patreon. $5 tier, and Cap will be there soon. Everyone go sign up.
It would first have to be for sale.
Everything's for sale. At the right price.
Like this hotel that I want to swim in. Anyway, moving right along. We have more hotels for you to buy.
Thanks, Madam Morbius. Would you
that was Begin's reference.
Oh no, I know, but she sounds like Morbius, or at least your impression of her sounded like Morbius.
My apologies. I'm sorry.
Would you guys? This is from Mutale
That's
again.
That's from Felicia. We have more hotels for you to buy. I'm ethnically ambiguous, man.
All right. Would you guys rather?
I'm nationality ambiguous, man. Sorry, good.
Nationality ambiguous. That's a good term. This is another one from Mutale. Would you guys rather have Doc Ock's arms or Vulture's wings?
Ooh, you field this first.
Ooh, gosh, that would be the hardest question we've ever gotten on the show. Because everyone wants to fly, right? That's like the thing. Everybody if you give one superpower, everybody wants to fly. Flying is great.
This one's really easy for me.
I think I would want to fly. Yeah, it's got to be fly, right? Because, I mean, you could do things. The arms would be useful.
Yeah.
Because you could do a bunch of things. You could multitask, but, like, you still have one brain. They don't, is it the movie ones where they have the brain of their own, or is it, like, or they just do what you think? Because I'm not good at multitasking at all with the two arms I have. So I don't think I'd be any good with 4 more. I'd be just knocking everything. I wouldn't be able to focus. I think the wings. I think I'm going with wings.
So you're saying the caveat is you might pick Doc Ock arms if only you can expand your brain's data.
Yeah, if I can like evolve a couple million years to where that I can do multiple, I guess 6 things at once. I don't know. I don't know if they'd be useful to me. I already have like I don't know. What would I do with?
You
What
know,
would I
it
actually
never
do with them?
occurred to me just how smart Spider-Man 2 actually is about that. The inhibitor chip is dumb. There's got to be a way to conceal that better. But Spider-Man 2 is actually way smarter about that than I ever thought before. That never occurred to me, DJ. The idea that your brain is not built to make more appendages move. So you would need some kind of an addition or a backup or something. And so having an AI on top of it would be necessary. You'd have to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Or at least a computer program that was really, really sophisticated. My answer is very easily Doc Ock's arms. This is a great question, by the way. And again, I overthink these things. I always think about the real world practicality of it. I don't think legally I'd be able to use the wings hardly anywhere. I feel like if I went out in public with that, you'd immediately be violating somebody's airspace, or the cops would flag you down and be like, yeah, you don't have a permit to fly this around. And I mean, well, crap, where am I going to go with this then? It's like owning a Formula One race car. If you don't have a place to drive that, what is the point?
Well, I just went to the mountains for my birthday weekend this weekend, and I was up on top of a mountain watching this like flock of giant condors like on this rock, and it was really cool and beautiful. And I wished I would 100% wish I could just fly around, because it would have been awesome.
Okay, well,
so I would take the wings.
This is depressing, but you just get out more than I do. I have 5 children. I just can't take them all to the mountains, and I know I'd never use it. Like we bought last year for Christmas, not this last Christmas, the year before, a fire pit for the backyard. We've used it one time. If I can't even get a free where I live, and I don't even need a permit for it to use it in the city, if I can't get my fire pit out on the regular, what are the odds that I ever get out the vulture wings if I'm not trying to go rob banks and stuff?
Well, what can you actually do with what would you do?
Well, I'm just saying, if I have the choice, it's at least probably more legal to use, and I can use it at home.
Yeah, you could just invite people over and say, "Look at this," and like walk on your arms.
I would use it as a portable mic arm.
There you go. You can give the old tour of the basement and hold the mic and the camera and everything.
Yeah. No,
but you'd have to buy like a special mount, because the arms only have like 3 hands, and they would crush your camera.
Well, that's true. I'm sure you can get a mount for it. Yeah, they would just be.
Wait.
It would be digital filmmaking arms. You'd have one for a camera, and you'd have one for a boom mic. And I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Are these like this scenario? What is this? Are these mass-produced items in the world at this point, or did we make them in like an Oscorp basement, and we're the only ones that have them, and they're. Because like if you can buy mounts for them on YouTube or on Amazon, like it's a GoPro, then that's a different different story.
No, that's a good question. But I was gonna say, regardless of whether or not everybody can get their hands on one and affordably, if I had Doc Ock arms when my twins were babies, yeah, my life is way easier. You really need more hands. I needed so much help with all that, and even now, like when you say what would you do with it, like I'm constantly needing to carry stuff. And people, and like, yeah, they might not be the most comfortable in Doc Ock arms, but you can maybe pad them. You can try to put some fluff of some kind on, pad them out with some
fluffy
blankets.
Doc Ock arms,
I don't know, nanny Ock.
Grim Death Griffin says, "What is the fuel source of the wings? People's youth."
What is the fuel source of the octopus arms? Like what does that run on?
The power of the sun, man.
Oh, yes, in the palm of your hand. Yeah.
Sunny D. He drinks a lot of Sunny D.
Okay.
This is a great question. Wonderful.
It was really good. That we haven't done question of the stream in a while, just because we went for like 8 minutes on that. That's probably a comment of the stream. But DJ, let's move on, shall we?
Well, there's actually a second half to that question we didn't even get to. But it's entirely different.
That is some bang for your buck, sir. Oh, and right after this, go to a pre-written, because we haven't done any of that yet.
Sweet, we'll do. He says, thoughts on a live-action Invincible film being still in the works?
I can't get excited about that. I don't need everything in every kind of medium. That material has worked so well in animation. That is proof that every good American comic should be translated into animation just like we do with manga and anime, and I don't need all of that to be live action. So yeah, if that has to exist, hopefully it's good. And I'm not even going to say that Invincible is too stylized necessarily to do in live action. There's a lot of things that I thought were that are more stylized than that. I liked Sandman more than I thought I would, and the look of that show. It ain't perfect. It can't be.
Watch that.
It can't be in live action. I'd love to know what you think of it, DJ, if you watch it. But yeah, so my thought is, I mean, I'll watch it, of course. Hopefully it's good if it has to exist, but I don't need that.
All right, let's go back to the first pre-written of the night. Jareth Gearhart getting in there early like he likes to do. He says, at the welder no more. Hey, Cap, because of the music for your show, I'm wondering who you play as in Marvel Capcom fighting games. My go-to is Hulk, Wolverine, or Venom.
Yeah, I don't like the heavies. They move too slow. But okay, I'll answer that in a second. But yeah, DJ changed his channel name from the Welder, and he's definitely gonna grow better with that. So that was a very smart move. It's real classy. His new logo and his name. He's still the Welder, you guys.
I'm still the Welder here. You can call me that. You can't at me because I don't have that handle anymore. But yeah, I didn't even mention that earlier. The new handle's Films by Color. If you want to push me over that edge, I need 30 more. But I didn't want to use this as a useless plug. But
feel free. It's cool because the next time you have me on your channel, I'm absolutely going to say the word Geekvolution as many times as humanly possible.
Marvel, Capcom.
There's no reason we can't have epic crossovers. Okay, we can be Xena and Hercules. There's no reason we can't do that.
Hey, that's the greatest compliment you've ever given me. I'll be your Xena to your Hercules any day. That would be great.
I'm trying to decide if that's more or less awkward than the notion of us body switching.
Somebody said, by the way, something I should have mentioned. They said Cap would switch place. Imagine Cap switching places with his wife. That's the perfect answer. I absolutely would do that. That would be the one person I would be 100% comfortable.
Yes, because that of course is already the person that you're most intimate with, and that you've made a life with, and you're a unit. In that way anyway.
Yeah, you're basically the same person. You share everything. So
in order to get that experience of knowing what that's like, yes, I absolutely would. And honestly, if you did that with your wife, that probably would bring you closer together. You'd probably be more sympathetic to some things, even only doing it for a day, but especially if you did it for like a month.
Yeah, if this is a possible thing in the future, then I'd sign up for it. It's like a therapy session. That's a good story. We should write a book about that. No one steal that idea. Cap and I are gonna write a book about this concept. Yeah. Science fiction book.
Here's the problem with it though. I think I would do it. I don't think Sarah would go for that. Like, I don't think my wife would actually want to do that, and not for some of the reasons you might think. I don't think Sarah would want to have to live any time in my shoes because, and I can't do architecture, so like there's that. But like, she really wouldn't want to have to get on camera and do this. Like, I guess if you could take vacation time, it'd be different.
Yeah, she could take a week off. I know my wife would be down, just given the anatomical questions she's asked me several times in the past, like just the curiosity of it. I know she would be.
And I don't mean to be weird or gross or anything. I hope I'm not coming off that way. But like we're all adults here. You can't tell me you haven't been curious.
No, and
it's like to and like grass is always. I don't want to say grass is always greener, but it's always different, right? Like you're always interested in those things that you can't know about.
Yeah.
Or at least I am. I don't know.
Unknowable.
It's just basic curiosity.
Yeah. Anyway, back on track. Who do you play with as in Marvel Capcom?
Oh,
I play as Spider-Man and Hulk.
Those a very related question to body switching with your spouse. Who do you play as in Marvel vs. Capcom?
I play as Spider-Man and Hulk. Those are my two faves.
You guys are Hulk people.
I guess Wolverine. Sometimes I haven't played 2 in a long time. I used to like Venom, but I just haven't played it forever. I need to get is there one up for 2?
Yeah, it just came out recently. Now it's hella expensive so far, but give it a year or two.
Yeah, I'll have to hit up Marketplace in a couple of years.
I'm actually not going to buy that one, and I thought I would want it. But I've never loved the design of that cabinet. is part of it. I don't like the front of it because it uses the same bezel as the same console as the Street Fighter machine, and I've never liked the look of that. But also, I have a great way to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 already, and with fight sticks, so I'm so close to an arcade machine with that anyway. And I own Marvel Superheroes, and we for that one up, and we play it quite a bit. So personally, I don't feel the need to buy that now. It would be redundant. I don't want to get rid of my other machine because I like the look of it better. So like all the Marvel vs. Capcom game, like the X-Men Street Fighters and the Marvel Superheroes and all of that is on that one cabinet. So if you ever get that, that's the one to get because you'll have all those other games built into it. But I like the look of the Marvel Superheroes machine better. So just for my arcade, I'd rather have that. It looks better.
Yeah, I may get the Marvel Superheroes one. I saw that on Marketplace for like only $300 with the whatever it's called, the riser and everything.
Yeah, it's worth it. If you could, especially if you get that way with the riser, because I paid $400 for mine without the riser when it first came out. It's one of the only ones I paid full price for.
I've been looking on Marketplace at those recently because of you. And
sorry, it's my fault.
You talk it up, and I
was at your place, and we were talking about where you would put one in your basement.
I was just gonna say
this is my fault.
There's this spot that literally in my basement on the other side of the pool table is like a little divot that I could fit 2 in perfectly, which is perfect because I don't want to get like you and get a bunch of them. But if I had this space where I could only fit 2, and then I could just stop. But I don't know which ones. I don't know if I want to get the Marvel Superheroes one and the Turtles one, or maybe just 2 Marvel ones. I don't know. I'd have to.
Okay, can I give you some advice? Can I make a suggestion?
Of course, you're the expert.
I would get whichever of those you think you'd play more, and trust me, you'd play a fighter more than you'd play a beat 'em up. Just knowing you, and when people come over, you're probably going to be able to get them to play a fighter more than a beat 'em up for any amount of time. Is my guess. So that would be my suggestion. But I mean, the Turtles machine is great, and it is 4 players. I mean, that's another reason to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
I would suggest whichever one of those you really want, and then get a multicab. Like find somebody with a really good MAME machine. And get that so that you can play a bunch of other things on one cabinet.
Yeah, that would be the way to go. I just don't know even how to. Anyway, that's a whole other video. I have to talk to you about that offline.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I know nothing about that stuff. I'm just starting to noodle it. Maybe we'll get it. Maybe this year, maybe next year, something like that.
And I know a guy too, who does good work with that kind of thing, and could send you material that you could then put into a cabinet, or you could pay to ship stuff, I guess. But and you would find people in your area also. But we'll talk. We'll talk.
Cool. So who do you play as? Let's answer this question finally.
Oh, sorry. So back in the day when I was growing up and I'd go to arcades and play those games, I also played as Venom quite a bit and Spider-Man. These days, I play a lot more often as Captain America, who I never cared about playing as before, but I got decent with him. He's probably, like, one day we were playing Marvel Superheroes, and some of the characters play slightly differently in different games, but generally speaking, if you get good with a character that's in other Capcom fighters, you stay good with that character. So, like, some of them run at a different speed and have maybe some different moves, but Captain America seems to be about the same across the board, at least as what I've noticed. I'm a very casual player, though, so I may not know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so one day I'm playing Marvel Superheroes. This is probably 6 months after we got it, with Jason and Freddy, and they're taking turns coming in and fighting me because I keep winning matches, and I won 17 in a row with Captain America, and I went, I'm going to main this guy now. And so I started getting pretty good with him. And then the other one is Rogue. I've been playing with a lot lately. And I've gotten pretty decent with her. I like to play Rogue and Storm in any game where they're both there.
Cool. And
of course, combining Rogue and Gambit is fun just because they're both there, and so that's fun. In Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I think they're both there, and you definitely get them both in one of the X-Men games. I forget.
Cool. Yeah, that's fun. I'd love to play that with you. I don't think we've ever played that. If I ever come over, we'll have to play that. Let me see. Let me read another pre-written here. That one's going to pop up later in some super chats, so I won't ask that one. This is from Daniverse, not sure exactly what it means. What gets you worked up more, a plane or a ship?
Do you mean like
like
You're a little more scared to
anxiety-wise?
get on. Yeah, it makes you kind of anxious. For me, I
I've never
don't
been on a
mind.
ship.
Yeah, I don't mind either anymore. I can get motion sick being on just about anything. So
Yeah, you even get car sick. You
I,
told me.
I get I get car sick a little bit. Yeah. So I'm better on boats actually than other things because they're not moving as quickly. I don't think like I can get a little seasick if it's choppy enough, but generally speaking, I'm fine with a boat. But I'm pretty good with airplanes now too. It's easier to because I don't really get worked up about either. I'm not like, oh no, I got to get on a plane or I got to get on a ship. I guess at this point, um, I could answer which of those I'd rather be on, like which is the better experience for me. I guess I'm gonna say ship just because I still have the ear popping problem with an airplane. I still like my head fills up with air, and then it's a couple of hours when I get off a plane before I can hear normally. So that's annoying. My ears don't pop properly. So anyway,
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never been on a ship. I don't have any problems with planes except for like sometimes I get ear popping if I go like really far, like over 4 hours or something. But I've never been on a ship. Hopefully I'll go on a cruise someday. I don't know. I've been on a boat. I guess ship maybe because I don't because water is like scary to me. It's like a scary way to die because I've never been a good swimmer. So I guess
oh
maybe there's a potential to be scared, but I don't know because I've never been on one.
yeah,
Did,
and I'm with you. I've never been on like a cruise ship, but I've been on large boats.
oh, on your
Like
yacht from the Patreon.
uh, wait, what?
Yeah, the yacht you were telling me about that you just bought. I'm just
What
kidding.
are
No,
you?
no.
What is he talking about? Um, yeah, this is the real reason I'm having a difficult time deciding to leave YouTube. I won't have my yacht. No, I've been on boats big enough to have like a room in the center with a full bar with like somebody behind the counter and that kind of thing. I've done that.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a catamaran when we were in Mexico that had like an inside, but it wasn't. I don't know. I guess with ship I was thinking of like more like I guess like a cruise thing.
No, I've always
Um,
wanted to do that actually. So I guess I don't know with that. But it's also
we
weird
should do it
comparing
together.
those because sure, let's go take a cruise together, DJ.
That's where the Geekvolution con will be.
Yeah, we'll do
We'll
it on
rent
a
out the
cruise
whole
ship.
cruise ship. Yeah.
And we'll switch bodies so everybody will be really confused as to who they're talking to.
Then everything will be on the house. Everything's paid for. The food's paid for. As long as you can get on the ship,
Yeah, well, might as well. I clearly am rich enough to have a yacht.
all inclusive. I mean, hey, like the Disney cruise is like it's not that expensive. We actually talked about doing the Disney cruise. It's like cheaper than going to Disneyland.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
we should. I should look into that at some point.
Danaverse has another one. Do you find bugs creepy? I sometimes get startled at them, but I never thought they were that unsettling looking.
I guess in principle, yeah. Like you get a camera right up on certain bugs, and it's like, wow, that is horrifying close up. When you're imagining it as a giant, like if Rita made that grow, like a cockroach or something. I am kind of a wuss when it comes to killing insects. I'm bad about it. I like as a kid, I could just never bring myself to really do it, and I don't know if it's just I don't like killing things. I don't know if it's that because I don't, or if it's more just it grosses me out too much. I'm a little bit of an arachnophobe, so
Hmm.
I am legitimately scared of spiders, especially if they're large enough. But I'm a little creeped out just talking about it actually. But with bugs,
Heebie-jeebies.
I don't have it as much with bugs.
Yeah, I guess I was more scared of bugs when I was little. Now I have no problem with them. But I don't. Yeah, I don't kill them either. I nowadays I just like try to pick them up and put them outside. Except for if it's a cockroach, because there's no picking up a cockroach. Those things are so fast and they will just flee forever, and you have to squish them. But
You've heard it here, folks. DJ is not the pansy that Captain Logan is.
no, I have to kill all the bugs because my wife is. She won't go anywhere near a bug.
Why?
I'll be
Why
I'll
do
be on
you and I
another
have
floor.
the opposite with everything? Like everything that I've got, your wife has. It's so weird.
I'll be
We have
like
the same thing. I have to have
upstairs.
Sarah kill spiders for me. I can't do it.
I'll be upstairs and I'll hear DJ bug. And I'll have to come downstairs and kill a bug because she won't touch it. All right, Goofster 123 $5 super chat. Any thoughts on this year's Oscar noms? I hope EEAAO and Banshees clean up. Also, what superhero and genre combo, not done before, most intrigues you?
So I don't mean to be a fake movie fan, and of course I'm not the movie buff that DJ is, but I haven't been paying attention to new in really in a very long time. So I don't pay attention to the Oscars at all anymore. So I don't even know what's been nominated.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to talk. I could talk about it briefly, but yeah, that's the only reason I watch the Oscars, is so that I can stay in the know of what things are coming out, because I also don't keep up with new. I saw like nothing this year. So the last couple years,
I thought you saw a few movies this year.
I did see a few. Everything
Because
Everywhere.
I thought you were working through some stuff from last year recently, and I thought maybe that was because of the Oscars.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't keep up when it goes through, but when the Oscar list comes out, I look through it so that and then I get some ideas of what to catch up on. Stuff that I didn't see. The only ones I saw were Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I have seen now Banshees of Inisherin and Avatar: The Way of Water. But I haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front. I haven't seen The Fablemans. The Fablemans and Tar are both, or The Fablemans and Women Talking are still in theaters, so I haven't seen those yet. Tar and Triangle of Sadness are streaming, so I might rent those. Not streaming, but you can rent them for like $5. So I might check those out. And my wife has seen Top Gun and Elvis. I didn't see those. I wasn't interested in those two, but she's more caught up.
Elvis got nominated for things.
Yeah, it's I think it's nominated for Best Picture and Best Actor for whatever his name is.
Wow.
Austin Butler.
So that's a Bohemian Rhapsody situation again.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I didn't see it either, but I've talked to enough people that I think I can kind of tell what kind of movie that is, and like I'll watch it at some point. But I'll be very surprised if that seems Best Picture worthy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a pretty weak year, so I don't know.
That's unfortunate.
What else they had to go on, but
and Top Gun I liked a lot. That shouldn't be Best Picture material unless it was just that slow of a year, but.
Yeah, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once got nominated for 11 Oscars, which was pretty cool. I know a lot of people were excited about that.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
And Banshees of Inisherin, which I talked about a couple weeks ago, got I think like 7, which is really cool. I really like that movie a lot.
DJ, do you think there should be a category for Best Remake?
No, Oscars doesn't even get
even.
that specific. They don't even do like the best comedy, best drama thing that like the Golden Globes do. They just do movies overall.
Which is why it's weird that animation has a category. For a long time it didn't. That's like an early 90s thing, I think.
Yeah, they did it
that.
After Beauty and the Beast got nominated for Best Picture, is when they add a whole category for it, which I think Pinocchio is going to get that easily this year. I don't think Puss in Boots or The Sea Beast. Maybe Marcel the Shell. I don't know. I haven't seen Marcel the Shell yet, but maybe I'll check it out and I'll let you know.
Like I like Spider-Verse. I don't know if that was exactly worthy of an Oscar, but if it's just going up against whatever other animated things came out that year, then yeah. But like that kind of won because there was no competition.
Yeah, well, Pixar gets nominated every year. I think this is the first year in a long time Disney wasn't nominated at all for animated.
Oh, interesting.
But there is one foreign animated film that I do want to check out. But yeah, that dropped today. And what else was the other part of his question? What superhero and genre combo most intrigues you?
Oh,
that hasn't been done. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most things have kind of been attempted at this point. I'm thinking more, DJ, of things that we've done a couple of times, but I think we could do a lot better or in different ways. Like, I'm kind of ready for another superhero musical, because we've got Dr. Horrible and we've got Captain Invincible, and I love both of those things, but I think a serious one attempted would be really interesting.
That would be interesting, because you showed me Captain Invincible while you were here.
Yeah.
Not a serious one, I wouldn't say.
But surprisingly poignant for what it is. Like, that movie's about stuff.
Yeah, how would you do a serious? I mean, I would be fine because I love musicals, but I know it would be a risk because a lot of people don't.
It would be massive. There'd be a niche.
Yeah. Two
audience
niches
for that.
What's what you call a corner niche?
She said corner niche.
Yeah.
What is the first? That's great. I love that. What is the first thing that comes to your mind?
That's a niche and cranny. I don't know. Like, it's hard to come up with something that completely hasn't been. I guess because the first place my mind goes is fantasy, but we have technically that's been done before, just really poorly. Superhero fantasy. Superhero that hasn't been done at all. And it's weird because is musical even a genre, or is that more of like a medium, a way to tell a story?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And you get into semantics at some point, but we do consider musical a genre, I think, a lot when we're talking about films.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I don't know if we should. I don't know that that's any different than like anime as a genre. That's not a genre. That's a medium.
Well, that's the same thing as superhero. Like we have
superhero's not really a genre.
Musical. I know we have musicals in every genre, so it's kind of like
and you have superhero movies in every genre. The only reason it's a genre is because it got popular.
Yeah,
like nobody called superhero a genre in 1979.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the same thing as Western. Like Western is a setting. You can have a Western where people are doing all kinds. You can have a heist Western. You can have a drama Western. It's not really a genre either.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm just avoiding the question because I can't think of anything. I'm just going.
Yeah, we've done. I mean, we've done plenty of noir. We've done plenty of Western. We've done heist movies. They're superhero things now. We've done the romantic comedy.
Yeah, I'm just having trouble thinking of. More so, I'm having trouble thinking of something that hasn't been done.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm going through them right now. I'm like, what haven't we done? I don't know. And then there's a lot of things that just inherently lend themselves to superhero things. So naturally, of course, you go to them, like noir, like that terrorist thriller, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, stuff that just fits right in. Fits superhero.
Oh, that's a good
like
point. Hot Soup mentions that Joker 2 is a musical, but that's going to be more of a super villain thing than a superhero thing, of course. But like it's in the genre in that it's a character that's from a comic book. So yes, I guess I am going to get my wish with that. We'll see what that's like because that'll be serious. That's not going to be a comedy. That's a musical. What the hell am I talking about? That is happening.
But it hasn't happened yet, so it qualifies for this question.
It's true. Can we move on? That'd be great.
All right. Ian Nixick, $4.99. Either of you aware?
I'm sorry. Did you say Mixelplick is in the audience?
Nixick. Is it Ian Nixick or Ian Nixick?
Ian Nixick.
Nixick. Cool last name, Ian.
Yeah. I'm sorry for making fun of it. It is a cool last name.
I think it's cool.
That's one of those last names that if I had it, I would hope that people would refer to me by my first and last name all the time.
Yeah.
Ian
Nixick.
Like a Dan Torrey. I'm always I've got
Connor
friends.
Nielsen.
Yeah, well, I've got friends that I'm always calling them by their first and last name.
Yeah. 2-syllable last names are really good.
Yeah.
We both have 3-syllable last names, which is just a mouthful. Nobody wants to say that.
Yeah, Tim Lyons had such a kick-ass last name. I could not just call him Tim. I don't know if I one time ever called Tim Lyons Tim. He was always Tim Lyons.
Yeah. That's really when you get the first 1-syllable first name, 2-syllable last name. That really rolls off. I like that quite a bit. Might change my name
to.
Well, I have a 2-syllable first name, so I'd have to be DJ Nixick.
Dean Martin. Wait, that's Taken. It's like Doctor Strange. It's Taken.
That's not how names work. It's not like a YouTube name. Like you can have.
No, if you have somebody that's that famous, you have to put a middle name in there so that people don't confuse you.
Yeah, Michael
B. Jordan. Yeah, exactly. Michael Jordan.
See, this is why we don't need to switch bodies because we're the same person at this point.
Exactly. Michael Jordan's name is so ubiquitous with entertainment that Michael B. Jordan ended up in a basketball game just because his name is Michael B. Jordan. Isn't that insane? He was
What a missed opportunity. He should have been the Space Jam 2 guy.
Yeah. So wait a minute, you're not a basketball player? I know. I just share his name.
The man could do anything. He played a boxer. He played a murderer.
What does the B stand for? Basketball?
Yes, it's Michael Basketball Jordan, like it's a Christopher Nolan ending.
See, that's one of those cases where explaining it did make it funnier.
That's true.
Like, everyone knew what I was saying, but when you put it all together, it's so much better. Michael Basketball Jordan.
Oh man.
Hal Jordan
Anyway,
shows
what were we
up in a
talking
Green
about?
Lantern movie. What's your middle initial B? I'm, I'm Hal B. Jordan.
Okay, what were we talking about? Oh, sorry, Nixick. Ian Nixick. That's the first time we've ever got that derailed from just a person's actual name, not even
I'm
a
sorry,
username.
Nixick. Mr. Nixick. What was his
Ian?
first name? He's unsubscribed already. He's gone.
He's left. Well, luckily there's a 3-minute lag probably, so
really-
you won't hear this till later. So Mr. Nixick wants us to talk about. Either of you aware that Damien Chazelle's Whiplash? Damien Chazelle, who directed Whiplash, new film Babylon came out. It's got Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie, but nobody knows it even exists. I know it exists.
No, I heard about it, but I don't know anything. I don't really know anything about it.
I know that it lost so much money for the studio, and it's the same studio that did Top Gun. So like all that money that they made with Top Gun, they lost on Babylon. Babylon is it bombed and it had a huge budget and it has like everyone in it. That's the one with Margot Robbie. I think even what's his face is in it. Tobey Maguire's in it.
Is it like an epic? Oh yes, I saw a preview for that with Tobey Maguire, and I was like, what is he doing in this movie? Is it some kind of epic or something?
No, it just has a stupid.
They just have to pay too many people to be
budget.
in it.
It's crazy. Well, it's Damien Chazelle, who he kind of can do what he wants now because he's had so many hits.
Yeah.
Well, not hits, I guess. I guess Whiplash has been a hit, but like an Oscar
Oscar
darling.
Critical hit or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I liked Whiplash a lot. So I would definitely like to check that out. Did it just get no advertising? When he says nobody knows about it, like did they just not push it the way they should?
It says Paramount might lose more than $200 million on this movie. I mean, I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of like no advertising and no one's liking it. It's just not good. Apparently, I haven't seen it, but that's the word.
Okay, I didn't know that. I just heard it was out. Okay.
But yeah, that's a bummer.
Maybe I shouldn't get excited about that.
It looked cool. The trailers looked cool.
See, and yeah,
it looked very stylized.
That's what I remember from it, but I don't remember anything about the premise at all.
I don't either. It was just like people dancing around in like fancy clothes. That's all I remember from the trailer.
Well, now see, if they called it that, maybe somebody would have gone and seen it. People dancing around in fancy clothes. You know, your title's a little long, but it's quite descriptive.
But yeah, it's 110 million. Which of course, superhero movies are a lot more, but it's not a superhero movie. It's like a little small drama. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's close enough to see. I wonder if they just had to pay the stars too much. I mean, if everybody in that movie is making $10 to $15 million, it adds up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that one. But let us know if you've seen it in the chat, if it's worth checking out.
Okay, DJ, how many super chats do we have left?
Just 2 at the moment, sir.
Would you go to a pre-written first, and then let's cover the super chats? And last call for those, because I do have to get going pretty soon.
The only pre-writtens I have are from Daniverse again, and this one, I guess I'll ask this one because it's actually also been asked in a super chat.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, put some pre-writtens in for me, some new ones, guys, because I haven't got any in since the beginning of the show.
We'll tackle one.
Yeah. So Daniverse asked least favorite comic couple, and then Mutale also asked that in a super chat. So least favorite comic couple.
Now, do you think that was 2 viewers that both came up with that tonight, or do you think it was one person who went, "I like that, I'm going to ask it in a super chat"? Because that was a whole trend that happened last show.
Yeah, and it was Mutale, so I think it's the same guy. So I think he was asking for Daniverse. Daniverse says Bruce and Barbara as a concept is obviously awful, but Ultimate Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver was a major what the hell are you doing?
So I forgot about that. Yeah.
Suggestions.
But we're not talking about the crappy ones. We're saying which ones do we like the most, yeah?
No, he said least favorite.
Oh, I thought you said most favorite. Oh, that's harder to answer. Boy, I wish I had more time to think about this, because I know there have been couples in comics before where I'm like, this is a bad idea. Why are we doing this? And some TV relationships too. I'm trying to think of a great answer here. Oh no, I'm blanking. That's unfortunate. Well, see, he had to throw out good examples.
He took the two best ones.
That's
Well, we
that's
had
throwing me
a
off.
viewer that several weeks ago wanted us to talk about Spider-Man and Deadpool together. So if that
Oh,
is a thing,
oh,
that's
yeah.
definitely not a great one.
That's not great. That's kind of weird. That's a strange choice. Boy, nothing better than those two is immediately coming to me. If I think of a really good one, I'll come back to it.
People are finally catching up to the Babylon conversation because of
Boy,
the
we are
lag.
still like 3 minutes behind.
Daniver says people knew about it, they just ignored it. So apparently, Mutali says the marketing for it was confusing. Mutali says it's polarizing, like Wolf of Wall Street, but I think that was a lot more positively
Yeah,
received than
I
this.
I don't know anybody that didn't like that movie.
Mutali says it's about the transition from silent movies to sound. That's weird because didn't The Artist is about that, and that just came out like 8 years ago, won the Oscar. That's weird. He would make that movie again. Oh yeah, he also did La La Land. Yeah, he's done two big ones right
I
in a
mean,
row. So yeah, this is just a blank check situation where he did two, knocked it out of the park twice, and he gets to do whatever he wants.
but
And
when
now
he
it's
when he said that blank check, I was like, okay, but what did he spend his money on? Like a lot of donuts? Like were there things outside of the movie that he spent his money on? But no, so people are going to revolt when I say this, but like on screen, one of my least favorite relationships, eventually it's fine in the first movie, but is Peter Parker and Mary Jane in Spider-Man 2 and 3. Absolutely. Hate that couple. Does not
oh
work.
yeah, yeah. Why am I cheering for them to ever get together ever?
Yeah, that's a big one with me. In Smallville, obviously Lana kind of sucks, and I don't totally understand why Clark, wants to be with her. But worse than that is, what is her? Is it Alicia? Am I remembering that right? The girl that has teleportation powers that he gets enamored with for no good reason, and she ruins his life. God, I hate that.
Where he leaves, where he gets on the red kryptonite, and they go get married.
Yes, it's terrible.
She is in that Dead or Alive movie that we need to watch for your video game mania.
Are we bringing you in for that?
I'd be there. I've never seen it, but the fact that Alicia from Smallville is in a Dead or Alive
That's
movie
so
is amazing.
weird.
She's like the main character. It's great. Oh, and also Street Fighter, the story of Chun-Li, whatever it's called, stars Lana Lang from
Yes,
Smallville.
I knew about
So I
that.
have to be on both of those because that's just too weird of a coincidence that the main characters of two fighting games would be Smallville love interests.
Matali says Superman and Wonder Woman. I honestly liked that during New 52. I bought the series they had together and kind of dug that.
All right.
Hey, I'll throw you one more. Remember first season Power Rangers with Zach and Angela? Freaking hate her.
Super. This is comic couple. They're not based.
I know that, but I can't think of more superhero ones. Okay. Sorry, comic book ones. Let's move on.
Okay. I'll ask one more pre-written, and then I'll get to. Oh no, this is actually a super chat. Excuse me. Austin Harn, $5. Cap. What obscure superhero would you like to see as a major motion picture?
Thanks for the question. I am a broken record on this, and of course I've been asked this a few times, but the big one for me is Resurrection Man. I just talked about that the other day on Not Spawn Year, which I've not been talking up enough on this, and that's had kind of a niche audience, which is totally fair and understandable, but I've really been enjoying making those and just challenging myself to see if I can get one of those out every day. I'm reviewing single-issue comics from my collection. I have to have it in physical every day. So far, it's all been superhero. I'm kind of planning on keeping it that way. I don't know. I might at some point do something that's not, but more or less, I'm keeping those kind of superhero, and that's been mostly Big Two stuff. But anyway, I reviewed the first issue of Resurrection Man, which I've meant to do forever, and at some point I'll review that series. But that, I mean, I'd like to see that as a episodic television show more, but I think it would still be a good a good movie. It's got a really good TV kind of premise where you have a character who who can die and come back to life, and every time he comes back to life, he has a different superpower. And sometimes his superpowers are great, and sometimes they suck. So there are places in that book where he will kill himself on purpose to get a better power, or because he's got a power that like holds him back so much. Like if he doesn't die, he's a liability, and that's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'd like to see that as a movie, and I still think it's weird that we've never adapted him, even though nobody really knows who he is, because I think that would be a really easy character to get people on board with and get popular if you did it right.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get back to these super chats, but I am gonna answer AMC Comics. I'm gonna ask AMC Comics pre-written because it's really good.
You're gonna answer it out of context. You're just gonna give us the answer and yourself and move on.
All right, Vitale 35, South African Rand. How different do you think the superhero genre would be if the Raimi Spider-Man films happened, but the Nolan Batman films didn't, and vice versa?
That's really interesting.
Vice versa would be really interesting.
Yeah, it would. Because the question is, does Begins, if you get Begins without Spider-Man, do superhero movies become like more for mainstream audiences? I mean, like Spider-Man already is that, but what I mean is like, do they like just as quickly or more quickly become more credible? Like are more people trying to make the serious superhero film because you don't have that influence with Spider-Man, and it's been a while since like like sillier or movies more for kids were made? Do we get to? I don't know. Like do we get to the world where we're doing more serious like superhero things, but maybe it's a little bit more niche? Then does the Marvel thing even happen without Spider-Man? Is certainly a question. Are they less formulaic? There's a lot of questions with that. And then if Spider-Man happens and Begins doesn't, does it crash the whole thing? Like, I know that's really popular, but is it possible that if you don't have Begins and Dark Knight, you can't have the momentum and the success of the MCU? I've just always wondered how important those movies are in mainstream superhero turning into what it turns into, because I don't think you can't count it out. Like I've always seen Dark Knight and Iron Man as a 1-2 punch. If you don't have Begins, you don't have Dark Knight. And I think both of those happening that summer is really important for the success of the MCU. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't still happen. It might look different. I don't know. I mean, but that's a really interesting question.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting thinking the other way, where because it seems like a more natural way for things to play out is you go right from X-Men to Batman Begins to Dark Knight.
Yeah.
X-Men, X2, Batman Begins, Dark Knight. And you don't have Spider-Man. Although,
but then is it hard
Hulk
to get?
And Daredevil came out the same year as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So those wouldn't be interrupted by Spider-Man not coming out. Not the same year, the next year, but they were already in production.
They were already in production. Yeah, so that would still happen. So then you'd have a bunch of more or less kind of darker, more for adults superhero movies.
Yeah.
And so then the question is, can you even get audiences on board with the more lighthearted stuff? Or would you still...
I think it would go... Iron Man would still come out, and then it would go more... I think it would go more Iron Man. Because Iron Man is like those ones.
Yeah.
And I don't think Avengers would happen.
I think so, or not the way it is. And then when you eventually adapt Spider-Man, does it look in the first place something closer to amazing?
Yeah.
I think it probably would. Boy, that's interesting. Yeah. Thinking of Spider-Man not happening is more interesting than the other way.
I think so too. Yeah.
Wow. Great question. That
Good
ties
question,
for comment of the street.
And Mutali had both of those, so he's batting 1,000.
Okay, we've got to wrap up. I've really got to get going here.
All right, last super chat we have is from TH1, and he just says, well, first of all, he says, in my defense, I'm in Oklahoma, and we're getting a bad storm right now. And I guess he means he's kind of close to you.
That doesn't happen everywhere. But just because Oklahoma gets a storm doesn't mean Kansas City does. It's like 4 hours away.
And then he has another super chat where he says, game show when?
I don't know. I can't promise when and if that will happen again. We had one planned. So Austin and I did a game show last October, and or was it? I guess it was the October before that, and it went really well, and people seemed to enjoy it, and it did better than I expected. And we had a number of would-be contestants who came out for it, who wanted to be on the show. And then when I announced another one finally a few months ago, I had no takers. Like, I didn't get one email from anybody wanting to be on the show, so that's why it didn't happen. And so I will put feelers out again at some point and see if there's still interest in it. It might have just been too busy of a time. I think we were trying to do it in, like, maybe it was November. Like, people might have been just too busy for it. I'm not sure what happened with that. But I shut it down because we didn't have anybody to be on it. What I might do is, for the second one, because Austin and I have talked about this, we might bring in contestants or as contestants, people who work with us on the channel for one, because that might be fun. We were thinking about doing one with Brandon and maybe Jason, just for fun, and then see if we've got viewers for a third one that want to come on and be contestants. But yeah, there wasn't any interest last time, which kind of surprised me. So that's why that hasn't happened yet. People are shy, DJ. They just don't want to go on camera.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I understand that. I had to watch 500 episodes of Power Rangers with this guy before I came on the show.
That is the proving ground, actually. I mean, you don't know this. I make everybody do that.
Yeah. You just haven't posted any of them to the channel yet. I'm the first one that you posted to the channel. Everyone else has watched that many episodes of Power Rangers, too.
Well, I did it under the pretense of recording, but I didn't actually record them.
Yeah. There's no law against that.
Well, did we salvage it, DJ?
We did. We got through all the super chats.
Did we kind of have a show finally?
Even though discussions.
Even though everybody exists in a world that is 3 years behind, or 3 minutes behind us.
Hopefully, we'll never have that bad of tech issues where they're 3 years behind us.
Do you know the main reason I'm glad we didn't have to shut the show down? Besides the fact that it was wonderful to talk to everybody, and thanks so much for watching and for the support, super chatters. But you know what the main reason is? I'm glad that this didn't get shut down.
No.
Michael Basketball Jordan.
That's going to be an inside joke for a while. I'll work on the t-shirt.
That is my favorite thing that's happened in a while. Everybody, thanks so much for watching the Captain Logan Show. We'll be back again on Thursday night for another one. And we're going to have a special guest this Thursday night. We're going to be talking retro games, which I know isn't everybody's forte and favorite thing. It'll be more of a niche audience. But occasionally I like to talk about that. It is a thing that I enjoy a lot, and that I... it's a hobby of mine. I'm real casual with it, but it is a thing I love. And I reached out to a channel I found that I thought was pretty cool. That's the Poor Man's Game Room, and he's excited about doing the show with us. So he's going to come on for Thursday's show, and it'll be a regular show. The lead-in topic will just be retro games and his channel and his collection. So I'll do kind of a little 10-15 minute interview with him at the beginning of the show, and then of course, as always, we'll open it up for questions, and we can talk about whatever you guys want to, even excluding retro games. So come forward anyway. It's still, when I have guests, guys, it's still the Captain Logan Show. I've just got somebody else with me who might have interesting things to bring to the table. You can still ask us about anything you want to ask us about.
Yeah.
It's not just an interview show. It's not 2 hours of interview necessarily.
Geekvolution. We appeal to every niche and cranny.
You need to work on that t-shirt too.
But yeah, it's gonna be a fun show. Show up for it.
Please. I'm excited. Yeah, we're begging you, apparently. I'm kidding. Once again, thank you so much for being here, folks. And I will be back again tomorrow night for the request. We're doing some of Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange one tomorrow night. That was requested. So look forward to